Alright, let's kick things off with some basic stats functions. These are the functions like count, average, median, mode, max, min, percentile, etc. Rather than dive into each one specifically, I just want to show them all here. This isn't a comprehensive list. This is kind of a list of the ones that are more commonly used, but the syntax is pretty straightforward, pretty simple to understand. Really, the only component in most of these formulas is your reference array. So for instance, if I want to find the median of the data from A2 through A20, that's exactly how I'd write the formula. The only difference is for ones like percentile, you have an additional component of the formula to specify which percentile you want to return. So if I'm looking for the 25th percentile within a given data range, I'd put a 0.25. If I'm looking for the 75th, I'd put a 0.75. Standard deviation is stdev, variance is var. So let's jump into Excel and see what we're working with for this section. I've got the section 4 statistical functions workbook open. As you can see, there are 3 tabs here. Right now I'm in the salary data tab, which is our raw data. And as you can see, we've got 5 years worth of Major League Baseball salary data. So there's a year column, team, league, player, and salary. You'll also see 2 blank columns, F and G, for rank and percent rank. We'll be covering those in the next lecture. On the second tab called Basic Stats Functions, I've just got some blank cells where we're going to be calculating some of the formulas we just walked through. We'll do that in a minute. And then last but not least, the first tab is Team Salary Dashboard. This is going to be our section wrap-up demo where we're going to use data validation, countifs, and sumifs to aggregate and visualize some of this raw salary data. So fun stuff there. Let's jump into basic stats functions and just populate these cells. So I'm going to start with sample size, which basically requires a count of my data set. So I'm going to type equals count, open the parenthesis, and then here's just where I insert my data array. So I'm going to jump over to the salary data tab and select the entire column E, which is my salary column. Close the parenthesis and hit enter, and it jumps back and evaluates the formula. One thing to point out is that when you're linking data or referring to data across tabs, Excel will automatically add the tab labels there. So that's why it says salary data in single quotes followed by the reference E. So I don't have to type any of that. As you click through, it will automatically populate for you. So let's do the average here. It's just going to be equals average of salary data, column E. Average salary, just over $3.5 million, which is totally nuts. Let's look at median here, which is just the median function. So as you can see, it's a very similar pattern here, so I'm going to start moving a little bit quicker. Mode is just mode. Mode is one of those functions that takes quite a while to calculate, so I'm kind of pausing here to let Excel do its thing. Usually it takes 5 to 10 seconds. There you go. Not quite sure why it takes so much longer than the others. Essentially, the mode is just which number appears most often in our data set. In this case, we see that it's $1 million. Let's take a look at what the max salary is. So for maximum, I can just write max 33 million, which I believe was Alex Rodriguez. Minimum is MIN 400,000, which was the MLB minimum salary in 2010. So now we're getting into 75th percentile. So I'm going to type out percentile, select my array just like normal, but now I'm going to add a comma, and you see this little helper box popped up, and it's looking for the K value. That's just what percentile I'm looking to return. In this case, it's 75th. I'm going to put 0.75, close it off. There you go. Now to do 25th percentile, let's save ourselves a few seconds. Just copy the formula above, paste it down, change the 7 to a 2, and we've got our 25th percentile, which is just under 500,000. Standard deviation is stdev. This is going to basically describe the spread of our data around the mean, and then variance is basically just calculated as standard deviation squared, which is going to give us a huge number. Not particularly meaningful in this context, but that's the variance function. These other two, 10th highest and 100th lowest salary, we're going to cover in the next lecture. But there you go, basic stats functions.